to start. This is from the House Foreign Affairs Committee Majority. President Donald John Trump made this happen when no one else could. So we're going to give this a play from the White House.
All right, hold on. President Trump, you have the best crowd in the world. What do you guys have to say to President Trump?
We got President Trump on the phone.
Thank you very much, everybody.
You did it!
You did it! Thank you! Thank you!
He said, how is everybody?
This is amazing. Mr. President, we believe in you. We know you've done so much for us over the past, since you became a president, and even before that. And we trust you fulfill the mission until every hostage, every 48 of the hostages are home. Thank you so much. Blessed be the peacemakers.
God bless you, Mr. President. God bless America.
Thank you very much. You just take care of yourselves. The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
Monday. We have Monday. Confirmation from President Trump.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Fantastic news. All right, man. Good news all around. Good news. So it is confirmed by President Trump. The hostages are expected to be released on Monday. I haven't seen this video. I don't watch any of these videos before I start the show because I just want to react as I go along. So that's very good news. All I know is that when I read earlier, or what I read earlier, was that they're opening up a 72-hour window. So it's possible they might even start releasing hostages before Monday. I think he probably just told them Monday just because that's most likely going to be nearing the end of that 72-hour deadline when the ceasefire happens. Well, the ceasefire is going to start tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening to this. And then the rest of the plan is going to start rolling out accordingly. All right. And this also comes from the House Foreign Affairs Committee Majority. President Trump has moved mountains to end wars throughout the globe. There is no one more deserving of the Nobel Peace Prize.
What do you make of
on
this
Fox
peace
News
deal?
Just thank God, number one. That's all anybody could say. If President Trump this morning was bringing home the bodies of 5 that were killed or 5 living hostages, that would be a big deal. He's bringing home everybody. This is monumental. Everybody's been talking about, will he get the Nobel Peace Prize? Those groups of academics and elites sitting in Norway,
Dude, at this point with the Nobel Peace Prize, they gave it to Obama for doing literally nothing, and he was still into his... He wasn't even president for like, what, 6 months, 7 months, and then they gave him the Nobel Peace Prize? At this point, I would just tell him to shove it. I mean, we already know what President Trump has done. We already know that he is the peacemaker of the 21st century. I don't know if anybody's going to come close to what President Trump's been able to do. So, look, after they gave that to Obama for doing literally nothing, the Nobel Peace Prize doesn't exactly hold a lot of weight these days.
people that decides this, they need to give President Trump the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts on this. India, Pakistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Rwanda. The list goes
I bet they're still not
on.
going to.
He's done more in 10 months to make it actually mean something when people say the full weight and force of the United States of America. He's done more.
You know what they'll do? They'll give it to him posthumously, probably. They'll probably wait like 25 years just as like a backhanded, here you go kind of situation. That wouldn't surprise me if they did that.
To make that mean something in 10 months, then what's been done over the last 5 years, and that is bringing peace through strength. I'm not certain that the board in Norway that looks at this believes in peace through strength. I think they believe in peace through pandering. But just thank God for
peace through
the
pandering.
work that President Trump, his envoy Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, that they have been doing on this means so much to the world. Peace throughout the Middle East.
Secretary Rubio,
and for all of those families.
What have you?
Very nice, very good news, and we have more on this. This is from Rep. Tony Gonzalez. This is a major moment for the Middle East and America. Bring the hostages home. This is coming from Fox News once again. New Hamas accepts President Trump's peace plan, ending the war in Gaza after 2 years and returning all hostages. Here is what is in the deal. And I went over the deal a couple of different times. I went over it in detail last week. But so I'm sure they're just going to give like the real brief Cliff Notes version. There's 20 points to it. And it probably took me about 10 to 15 minutes to read all the way through it. But it's out there if you want to check it out.
So you have an understanding of what they perhaps framed out over in Cairo, Egypt. War will end immediately. So the fighting that's still continuing, we saw smoke coming out of Gaza, will cease. I don't think that'll be much of a problem. All hostages alive at the cease to be returned within 72 hours. We don't know when the clock actually starts ticking, but let's say Monday, at which time you'll have 20 plus alive and over 50 bodies collected. Right now, that's taking place, we understand, between all the different factions. There are groups that are holding hostages that are not members of Hamas but have the same militant mindset. Israel released 250 people with life sentences. That means more than likely they have killed before. Think about how difficult that is. 1,700 Gazans. Some people have been captured
It's
during
pretty
this
far
fighting.
from a fair deal.
Keep in mind, Yahya Sinwar was one of the people that was exchanged for one hostage last time. He ends up being the architect of the October 7th attack. Thankfully, him and his brother are dead. Hamas members could be given amnesty if they decommission their weapons and agree to give up their rockets. That was the sticking point yesterday. We believe somehow they overcame it. Hamas will not have any role in the governance of Gaza, we should hope. Israel will not occupy or annex Gaza. That's not going to be an issue. The issue was really more the West Bank area where the Palestinian Authority mostly has the authority, but I don't think they're looking to take any Gaza. And I don't think that was much of something to be hurdled. Gaza will be governed by a temporary transition government. This is going to be key, and that government's going to be chaired by a peace council by President Trump. And then there's going to be people like Tony Blair, who's given basically his post-prime minister career to trying to find some way forward on a two-state solution or whatever's possible in the area. The question is, if you see Westerners in that region, we know they were targets when the Iraqi transition was taking place, will they be targets again? And the possible path to Palestinian self-determination and statehood. It's all going to be performance-based. How are they acting? Are there really Palestinian technocrats that want to work out a way to rebuild Gaza, set up institutions?
Well, I would imagine that's going to take years and years before that's
and things
determined.
Of that nature. I don't know any. And maybe
except for a lot of the woke folks over in Europe and Canada, the ones who already want to or have recognized Palestine as a sovereign nation. I mean, I think they jumped the gun a little too quick, you think?
Some of them are in prison right now. We're not sure. If you want to have an idea and a visual of what's going on, this was supplied by the White House. This is essentially Israel, okay? This is Gaza.
It is Israel.
This is where the walls were breached and the attack took place. Right now, we see the IDF is at the blue line. They'll be backing up to the yellow line and eventually be out. One of the sticking points was Hamas was saying, I want them all out before we go out. That doesn't seem to have happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen. That's not gonna be reasonable, because what if they just back out? Then they're left at a strategic disadvantage at that point. And I don't want to get too far ahead of it. There's a lot of celebration happening because they've agreed to the deal, and it's been announced by President Trump and the other world leaders and Netanyahu. But it hasn't been solidified yet. I would still be holding my breath until they get the last hostage released. And I'm sure a lot of people are very cautiously optimistic, but a lot of people aren't, man. Look, a lot of people are in full-on celebration mode. From Caroline Levitt, wow, Trump's name chanted in Israel and Gaza after the peace deal. And I think I got a video here. Let's see. Okay, so they said it, got halfway through. It's an hour and a half. That wasn't by my doing. That's what they set up on the website. Okay, here we go.
Nobel Prize to Trump! Nobel Prize to Trump!
Nobel Prize to Trump.
Nobel Prize to Trump! Nobel Prize to Trump! Nobel Prize to Trump!
Hey!
Nobel Prize to Trump!
Hey!
Nobel Prize to Trump! Nobel Prize to Trump!
יאללה, יאללה, תנו לו פרס נובל. רק שיבואו לפה, קודם שיבואו ואז תיתנו לו את הנובל פרייס.
When we bring them home here and bring all and stuff.
Okay, yeah, so they're celebrating. Times are good over there at the moment. Hopefully it holds up. And this will be linked if you want to look at that. It just looks like most likely a live stream, I guess. Maybe some live streamer on YouTube, or maybe it's from Mediaite. Maybe they got somebody out there filming. So Israelis and Gazans alike, they celebrated into the night, chanting President Donald Trump's name after he announced a peace deal to bring hostages home, with chants in Israel calling for him to be awarded his much-coveted Nobel Peace Prize. Trump announced that the warring parties had agreed to the first phase of what he called a historic peace deal on Wednesday night. marking a ceasefire and the start of mutual releases of hostages and prisoners. The president hailed the unprecedented event on Truth Social, declaring that all of the hostages will be released very soon under the terms of the agreement. After hearing the news, hostages square in the Israeli city of Tel Aviv filled with families waving American flags, dancing, and chanting Nobel Prize to Trump. Some Israeli farmers followed, carving Nobel for Trump into their field. Oh, shit. Look at this. Wow, man, that's crazy, dude. They're going all out. Going all out for Trump. There you go. Nobel for Trump, as seen in the air. That's wild, man. Let's see. Residents of Gaza also poured into the streets to celebrate what many hope will be the end of a devastating 2-year war. Also chanting Donald Trump. Dude, even Gazans are chanting Trump. In the war-torn streets of Gaza, they are chanting Trump's name. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump. I don't know. I kind of heard no more Trump, but okay. I guess I'll give it to him. I mean, people reporting on this, they would know better than me. All right. So, yeah, apparently they're saying thank you, President Trump, I guess, or thank you, Trump. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hailed the development as a critical turning point, crediting our great friend and ally, President Trump, for helping to secure the release of the remaining 48 hostages, 20 of whom are believed to be alive. In the U.S., the president's son, Eric Trump, also called for his father to win the Nobel Peace Prize, leading a wave of top MAGA influencers and Trump cabinet members to follow suit. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick agreed, calling the prize undoubtedly deserved. MAGA commentator Steve Bannon said it would be a joke if Trump didn't win. Senate candidate Nate Morris went further. They should rename the damn thing after him. I mean, yeah, that would be a bit fitting at this point. So the Nobel Committee is set to announce this year's laureate on Friday. Really, on Friday? Talk about perfect timing. Yeah, that would be a good time to name him. I think the timing couldn't be more perfect than that. So yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, look, they said 20 hostages that are believed to still be alive. I don't know, man. I don't want to say it, but there's, look, they said dead or alive. And from what I've heard, what Hamas was doing to the prisoners and how they would torture them, and they would say, like, who gets it in the head, who gets it in the kneecap, like shit like that, making them dig their own graves and shit like that. I just hope that the worst case scenario doesn't happen between now and when we get the hostages. And that's all I'm going to speak about. I'm just saying, dead or alive. I guess I could probably say no further or no more. Anyway, Caroline Levitt again. Art of the Peace. Gazans join Israelis in chanting Trump's name over ceasefire. Nobel Prize to Trump. I think we already got that. It's also just being reported on the New York Post. So I'll just link that if you want to check that out. Senator Todd Young, the successful negotiation of a Gaza peace plan is a major diplomatic accomplishment and potentially a historic breakthrough. I want to congratulate the President, Secretary Rubio, and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff for peace missions and the Trump administration on their successful and transformational efforts. I'm grateful to their work in pursuit of peace in the Middle East, and we pray that this agreement holds. And from Amir Ohana, it is my profound honor and privilege to officially invite the greatest friend and ally of the Jewish people in modern history, President real Donald Trump, to deliver a formal address to the nation before the Knesset. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. Can you tell I'm not Jewish? Israel awaits the peace president, and they issued a letter. His Excellency Donald J. Trump, 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, the White House. Dear Mr. President, today is a historic day. Your leadership, courage, persistence, and vision have led not only to a deal securing the release of all Israeli hostages abducted by Hamas on October 7th, but also to an unprecedented regional agreement accepted by nearly every nation in the Middle East. This victory would not have been possible without the sacrifice of our brave soldiers, the resolve of Prime Minister Netanyahu, and the close partnership you have forged with him, and with the one and only Jewish state throughout your life. From recognizing Jerusalem as our eternal capital and moving the American embassy there, to affirming our sovereignty over the Golan Heights, from creating the historic Abraham Accords or Abraham Accords, to eliminating Iran's nuclear sites. And now, to this momentous day, you have demonstrated that under your leadership, America is not only a military superpower, but a moral superpower as well, and that peace comes through strength. The people of Israel regard you as the greatest friend and ally of the Jewish nation in modern history. It is therefore my profound honor and privilege to officially invite you to deliver a formal address to the nation before the Knesset. Your speech would be the first by a sitting U.S. president since President George W. Bush's visit in 2008, a deeply meaningful gesture of our eternal gratitude for your once-in-a-century leadership and for the unbreakable alliance between the State of Israel and the United States of America. Israel awaits the Peace President. With great respect and warm regards, M.K. Amir Ohana, Speaker of the Knesset. There you have it. I wonder if they're going to invite him to plant a tree in the garden. I don't know what they called it, the Garden of Life or something like that. I don't know. I'm thinking back to the Schindler's List. Remember Schindler's List when they invited him to plant a tree, and that's like it's like a very rare honor, something that it's like one of the highest honors they have in Israel or something like that. I don't know. What do I know? All right. So